And at some point in our lives, we have all felt that invisible weight pulling us into the past, or that silent anxiety pushing us toward a future that doesn't yet exist. And without realizing it, the mind, that incredible tool, becomes our greatest enemy, the silent saboteur that steals our peace, our clarity, and our power. Today, you will discover a transformative truth inspired by the teachings of Joseph Murphy, the immense power of the now. Because when we don't live in the present, the mind creates shadows, fears, and blockages that aren't real. It traps us in illusion and prevents us from manifesting the life we desire. But when you master the moment, when you awaken your consciousness to the present, something extraordinary happens. Your mind stops sabotaging you, your subconscious becomes free, and your reality begins to transform. Get ready. This is not just another video, it is a revelation, a reminder of the power that has always been within you, waiting for you to return to the only place where life truly happens. The now. All the power of life acts only at one point, the now. There is no other time in which you can think, feel, decide, or create. The past exists only in memory, the future only in imagination. But creative energy, what the sages call God, spirit, or the subconscious, responds only to the impression it receives in this very instant. Your subconscious mind cannot be programmed with a tomorrow. It knows nothing of calendars or clocks. It only recognizes the emotional intensity of the idea you hold right now. If at this moment you imagine failure, fear, or lack, you're sowing those images in the fertile soil of your deep mind. If you imagine peace, success, and abundance, those will be the harvests that the mental law returns to you at precisely the right time. Worrying about tomorrow is a form of negative prayer. It is like praying for what you do not want, silently repeating, I lack, I fear, I cannot. Every anxious thought is an order the subconscious obeys with mathematical precision. That is why many people pray for prosperity, yet unknowingly affirm lack. They ask for peace but decree conflict, because the feeling behind their words contradicts them. The law does not distinguish between prayer and worry. It only registers vibrations. Jesus expressed this with perfect clarity. Sufficient for each day is its own trouble. Matthew 6:34. He did not preach passivity, but the wisdom of remaining in the present, where the mind connects with infinite power. Worrying about tomorrow is like trying to water the garden of the future while letting today's garden wither. The only fertile moment to plant is this one. I have known people who transform their health and destiny simply by learning to live mentally in the now. A businessman overwhelmed by anxiety came to me saying, I cannot sleep. My stomach is in knots. I am constantly thinking about what could go wrong. I replied, your mind lives in tomorrow, and your body, which exists only in the present, is protesting. I taught him a simple exercise. Whenever fear arose, he was to quietly say, only this moment exists. Now I am guided by divine intelligence. Within 3 weeks, his anxiety vanished, and his ulcers began to heal. It was not a miracle, it was the subconscious mind obeying a new pattern of thought. The Bhagavad Gita teaches the same truth. In other words, your right is in the action, not in the fruits of the action. Acting without attachment to the outcome is acting from the hour. When you work expecting future rewards, your mind is split between the present and expectation, and energy disperses. But when you do what must be done with full attention and faith in the law, the result takes care of itself. The future does not need your worry, it needs your serenity. Living in the present does not mean neglecting tomorrow, but building it correctly. Every image you hold now is a brick in the building of your destiny. Anxiety is the architect that distorts. Calmness is the one that builds with precision. You cannot control what will come, but you can control the kind of mental seed you plant in this instant. The power you seek is not in effort, time, or chance. It is in your present consciousness. The same power that moves the planets beats within you now, waiting for direction, and that direction is given through thought sustained in faith. If you learn to keep your attention on the moment you live without projecting it into the past or future, you will discover that life begins to respond immediately. The body balances, decisions flow, circumstances harmonize. The law of good acts when the mind stops dividing. Make this truth your first practice. Each time you feel fear for tomorrow, say calmly, only the now exists, and in this now, God works in me. Stay a few seconds breathing in that certainty. You will feel something change, an invisible force supporting you. The present is the altar where God manifests. There is no power in any other time, no opportunity outside this instant. Yesterday was a lesson. Tomorrow will be a reflection. But now is living creation. Living in the now does not mean renouncing action. It means acting with a unified mind, without doubt or fear. It is understanding that every second given to anxiety is energy withdrawn from the miracle that could occur today. Remember, your subconscious mind works only in the present. Whoever masters their attention in this instant masters their destiny. And whoever learns to say with calm faith, I am guided, provided for, and blessed now, no longer fears tomorrow because they live where power dwells, the eternal hour. The power of the spiritual hour, overcoming worry about tomorrow. Based on Joseph Murphy, we have noticed that more than 80% of those who visit our channel are not subscribed. You can support this project by pressing the subscribe button and liking the video. Thank you for inspiring us to continue creating more and better content for you. Before we continue, let me remind you that if you want to learn how to use the law of attraction to improve your life, I've created a completely free guide for you. You have the link in the description. Are you ready to transform your life? Chapter 1. The Mental Law of the Eternal Present. The only moment in which you can think, feel, believe, or create is this instant. There is no other. Your subconscious mind knows nothing of calendars and cannot distinguish human clocks. For it, everything happens now. Every emotion you embrace, every image you hold, every word you speak with feeling is imprinted on your subconscious like a living seed in the garden of eternity. It does not matter whether that emotion refers to something you call the past or the future. For the creative power of your mind, there is only one time, the present. Many men and women live tormented by old scenes or by specters of what might come. They live outside the one point where divine power operates. They have turned their minds into abandoned fields. Weeds of yesterday and fears of tomorrow suffocate the flowers of the hour. The mental law of the eternal present teaches that the only reality is the moment you are living. Everything else is shadow or anticipation. The subconscious, as the creative matrix, reacts identically to the idea of a past loss or a feared loss. If you relive with intensity a pain from 20 years ago, your body and nervous system obey that emotion as if the event were happening again. If you anticipate a coming disaster with fear, your glands secrete the same substances as if you were already in the catastrophe. In the laboratories of their time, physiologists observed that people exposed to images of danger, even imaginary, produced the same chemical reactions as those facing real danger. Blood filled with adrenaline, the heart raced, muscles tensed. What clearer proof could there be that the body cannot distinguish thought from lived experience? The body is the faithful servant of the mind, and the mind lives only within it. Now your subconscious responds only to the emotional impression of this moment. It does not matter when the scene occurred or will occur. What matters is what you feel now as you remember or anticipate it. If in this instant you harbor love, faith, or gratitude, you are sowing seeds of harmony in the garden of your life. If you harbor fear, resentment, or doubt, you are planting thorns that will wound you tomorrow. Think of your mind as a fertile garden. Every thought is a seed. You cannot plant yesterday or tomorrow. You can only plant today. Every minute spent worrying about the future is a minute in which you are sowing weeds. Every instant of serene, conscious attention is a minute in which you water the flowers of well-being. A man came to me years ago. He was a high-ranking executive at an insurance company. He suffered from gastric ulcers, and his temperament had become irritable. He said wearily, "Doctor, I cannot sleep. Every night my mind plays the same movie, the mistakes I made years ago, the deals that might fail tomorrow. I feel as if my head never stops." I replied gently, "Your mind lives in two impossible places, yesterday which has already dissolved and tomorrow which does not yet exist. Neither can help you. Only the now is real." I asked him to practice a simple exercise in conscious presence for 21 days. Every morning upon waking, he was to repeat slowly, "Only the present moment exists. God acts in me now. I live in the eternal now." During the day, whenever his mind drifted toward the future or the past, He was to pause for a few seconds, breathe deeply and say, "I return to the hour. Here is my peace." I explained that the purpose of this training was to teach his mind to remain where life occurs. By the third week, his face had changed. He said, "I have slept through the night for the first time in years. My ulcers no longer bother me. I feel as if something inside me has been released." He had learned the art of living in the present, and his body, the obedient reflection of his mind, had healed. Ancient wisdom expressed this truth in countless ways. Emerson wrote, "We live in the lap of an eternal hour, without beginning or end." The scriptures confirm it when God reveals himself to Moses, saying, "I am who I am, I was not nor will I be, but I am." Time, absolute present. It is the divine formula of existence. Every time you say "I am," you invoke the creative power of being, and that power acts in the very instant you recognize it. The most common error of humankind is using imagination to escape the present. Imagination was given to create, not to fear. When you imagine good unfolding now, you are using the divine faculty rightly. When you imagine future misfortunes, you are using the same faculty against yourself. Both are forms of prayer. One is positive prayer, the other negative prayer. If you want to see how often your mind abandons the now, observe your thoughts for a single day. Ask yourself each hour, where am I in this moment? Not where your body is, but where your attention is. Most will discover that their attention has traveled toward worries, plans, memories, resentments. In these mental escapes, vital energy leaks away. The present is the only place where you can contact the divine presence. God does not dwell in linear time. God dwells in the eternity of the instant. When you quiet yourself and feel life pulsing now in your breath, you connect with the source. Practice this each morning. Sit in silence. Place your hands over your heart and say inwardly, "I am in the eternal presence of God. All my good manifests now." Remain for a few minutes breathing gently without effort. You will feel a deep peace replacing accumulated tensions. That peace is the sign that your mind and body have returned to the only point where healing is possible, the now. Remember always, reliving the past or anticipating the future is like replaying over and over a film that has already been projected or has yet to be filmed. While your mind's screen is occupied with those images, the light of the present cannot shine. Take the helm of your attention. Direct your thoughts toward what is alive in this instant. As you eat, feel the taste of your food. As you walk, feel the contact of your feet with the ground. As you speak, hear your own words. These simple actions are the highest discipline, living consciously. The creative power of the mind is not activated by speed or anxiety, but by attention. What you contemplate with love in this moment manifests. What you contemplate with fear repeats. This is how the mental law of the eternal present works. That is why when you say, "I will be happy when I get that job," you postpone your good. But when you affirm, "I am happy now because the life of God flows through me," you decree from eternal truth, and your subconscious responds with visible results. Everything you desire, if recognized as real now, will begin to take shape. If projected into an indefinite future, it will remain forever out of reach. The practice of the hour is not passivity. It is the most powerful action in the universe. While the ordinary man disperses his thoughts in 1,000 directions, the wise concentrate all their energy at one point, the present. And at that point where the mind is focused, the forces of heaven and earth obey. Sow thoughts of serenity today, and tomorrow you will harvest health. Sow gratitude today, and tomorrow you will harvest prosperity. The law never fails, for the law is God in action. Before closing this chapter, remember this truth with all your mind and heart. There is no other moment of power but the present. The past has already dissolved like a dream. The future is only an image without substance. But this instant, the one you are living as you read these words, is eternity manifested in human form. Repeat with me, and I live in the eternal now. All the power of the universe acts in me now. I am who I am, here and now. Make this affirmation your constant prayer. Practice it until your mind, body, and soul feel one with the life of the present. Then you will understand that the kingdom of God will not come tomorrow, because it has always been here. And you will discover, like that healed executive and many before you, that when your mind inhabits the now, health, peace, and abundance bloom like flowers under the sun of your attention. The present is your eternity. In it, all is fulfilled. Chapter 2. The future as a mental ghost. The future does not exist outside your imagination, yet millions of people surrender their peace, their sleep, and their health to a ghost that has never been born. Man torments himself over what might happen as if that possibility had real power. In truth, worry is a form of inverted prayer, a faith in the negative. When you worry, you are using the same creative power that could elevate you, but directed towards shadow. The energy you could use to build your well-being is diverted to construct a scene of fear. And because your subconscious mind does not distinguish between a real image and an imagined one, it responds to your worry as if the disaster had already occurred. Consider the biblical phrase, "What I feared has come upon me." Job 3:25. This verse is not divine punishment. It is a scientific description of the mental law. What you fear intensely, you attract, because fear is a mental image charged with emotion. Whatever you visualize with force, whether desirable or not, is planted in the subconscious and sooner or later germinates. I have known men who for years silently repeated, "I fear losing my job." When they were finally dismissed, they exclaimed, "I knew it, I sensed it." What they did not understand was that their premonition was in fact a mental creation. They had rehearsed failure in their minds, and life, obedient, delivered the fruit of their imagination. The future, when viewed with fear, becomes an invented enemy, but when contemplated with serenity and trust, it transforms into an open field of possibilities. The same power you use to imagine ruin can be used to imagine victory. Everything depends on how you use your imagination. Imagination is God's workshop within man. It is where the images are formed that the subconscious later materializes. To use it without control is like giving a scalpel to a child. You can harm yourself with the very instrument that could save you. There is a profound difference between conscious planning and anxious worry. Planning is an act of ordered faith. It arises from a clear mind that knows the future is built from present decisions. Worry, on the other hand, is an act of distrust. It is born from the habit of seeing harm before good, anticipating loss before abundance. When you plan, you act as an architect of good. When you worry, you act as a prophet of disaster. Both are forms of imagination, but only one is guided by faith in the divine law. Let me tell you about a young secretary named Elena. She came to my office with tense features and reddened eyes. She said, "Doctor, I live worrying about my future. I fear being alone. I fear illness. I fear not having money when I grow old." I asked her to list her fears in writing. When she finished, she had a list as long as an arm. Then I explained the technique of the mental tribunal. I said, "Imagine that within you there is a tribunal where you are the judge. Every worry that arises must be brought to trial. Ask it, what proof do you have of your truth? What right do you have to disturb my peace?" That night, in her meditation, Elena visualized a luminous courtroom. One by one, her worries appeared as witnesses. The voice of her inner judge, her own illuminated reason, interrogated them. Fear of being alone. On what do you base yourself? On what has happened to others? That is not proof. It is only repetition. Dismissed. She continued this practice until her mind settled. After 3 weeks, she wrote again. "Doctor, I have discovered that my worries were only mental ghosts. Today I sleep calmly and feel that something in me trusts again. That is the effect of the mental tribunal. It transforms uncontrolled imagination into ordered consciousness. When you subject your fears to the judgment of divine reason, they dissolve because they cannot withstand the light of the present. I suggest you practice this too. Whenever you feel anxiety about the future, sit in silence, breathe deeply, and say inwardly, 'I summon this fear to appear before the tribunal of my mind. I judge it in the light of present truth. It has no power, no evidence. Only the divine now exists. Do this with serenity. Do not fight the fear. Observe it. What is observed with awareness loses its dominion. If any concern persists, write it on paper as if it were a letter to God. Then burn the paper in a symbolic act, saying, 'This idea no longer belongs to me. I surrender it to the purifying fire of the present. Only the divine now exists.' As the ash dissolves, imagine your anxiety dissolving with it. On one occasion, a physician friend described an experiment with neurotic patients. When asked to write each concern on paper and destroy it ritually, he observed a remarkable decrease in physical symptoms. Migraines, palpitations, spasms disappeared. The mind had released its invisible burden. Mental science teaches that worry does not prevent harm, it produces it. When you imagine suffering, your body begins to obey the order. Glands secrete corrosive substances, the stomach contracts, the heart races. When you maintain an image of calm and trust, the same nervous centers release harmony. Every thought is a chemical command to your body. Every emotion is an electrical message to the universe. If your thoughts are of faith, your cells vibrate with life. If of fear, they vibrate with tension. Just as an engineer controls the voltage of a current, you must regulate the intensity of your thoughts. The future, in reality, has no independent existence. It is a mirror in which you only see reflected what you hold in your mind today. Sow fear today, and the mirror will show fearful shapes. Sow trust today, and the mirror will reveal clear paths. I know a businessman who feared losing his fortune. Every day he mentally rehearsed his bankruptcy. He said, "I must be cautious. I don't want a crisis to catch me off guard." But this caution was not prudence. It was anxiety disguised as reason. The subconscious does not understand the difference between caution and fear. It only feels the dominant emotion. 2 years later, a series of impulsive decisions led him to ruin. When he came to me, he exclaimed, "I knew this would happen to me." I replied, "You didn't know, my friend. You created it." After months of training in positive faith and conscious presence, his mind was re-educated. He visualized his business prospering again, and in less than a year, he not only recovered, but achieved even greater success. The law was fulfilled. What you believe emotionally becomes your experience. You too can reverse any pattern of anxiety. Each time you notice the impulse to worry, stop and say firmly, "This thought has no reality. The future is in the hands of infinite intelligence, and that intelligence acts right now in my favor." In this way, you turn fear into prayer, stop fighting ghosts, and begin walking in the light. Remember, worry is faith in evil. It is believing that negativity has power over you. True faith is certainty in good. Both are prayers. One closes doors, the other opens them. When your mind wants to flee into tomorrow, say to it, "Return, all I need is here." If you do this persistently, the habit of fear will dissolve like fog under the sun. The future is a blank page. If you fill it with trust, you write beauty. If you fill it with fear, you write tragedy. You are the writer. The universe only prints what you dictate. Make your choice today. Close your eyes and repeat, "I see the future as the expansion of present good. Only love and wisdom await me. What I feared most dissolves in the light. The divine now governs my life." Let these words be engraved deep in your mind. Feel your heart open to peace. When old worries knock again, smile and remember, it was only a mental ghost and you have awakened. The future cannot harm you because it exists only in your thought. And when your thought unites with the divine hour, it is invulnerable. Chapter 3. The Trap of the Past, Resentment and Guilt. The past exists only as a thought that you keep alive. Yet many men and women live as prisoners of their memories, chained to scenes that happened years ago, mentally repeating words spoken or heard, feeding resentments or guilt that exist only in memory. These images are like shadows on a wall. They seem to move, but they have no substance. Clinging to the past, whether with resentment or guilt, is to deny the regenerative power of the present. Life renews itself in every instant. If you do not let it flow, if you hold in your mind images of pain, you prevent divine energy from circulating freely. Resentment freezes the flow of love. Guilt blocks the flow of peace. Both are chains you forge yourself, and both can be broken whenever you choose. The human mind has a wonderful faculty called memory, but when you use it to relive pain instead of learning from it, memory becomes a prison. The subconscious, upon receiving an emotionally charged image, does not distinguish whether it happened 20 years ago or today. For it, all present emotion is real. That is why when you remember an offense with bitterness, your body reacts as if you were being wronged right now. Muscles tense, the heart accelerates, and the blood is poisoned with the same secretions as the day of the conflict. A woman who came to see me said, 15 years ago my sister betrayed me. I cannot forgive her. Every time I think of her, I feel a knot in my stomach. I replied, "That knot is not in your stomach. It is in your mind. Your body only reflects what you keep tied in your consciousness." I taught her the technique of scientific forgiveness. I explained that forgiveness is not a concession to the other, but an inner liberation. It is not about approving the wrongdoing, but about ceasing to relive it. Spiritual forgiveness is the decision to cut psychic ties with an image that drains your energy. I asked her each night before sleeping to close her eyes and mentally relive the scene of the offense, but this time in a new light. In her imagination, she was to say, "I release you and I release myself. All judgment dissolves. I release this completely. I am free now." At first, she did this with resistance, but she persisted. After 3 weeks, she told me her stomach no longer hurt. Her sister had not changed, but she had. She had let go of the weight of the past. Resentment is like holding a hot stone. While you hold it, it burns you. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is spiritual intelligence. One who forgives does not forget. One understands. Understands that nothing can be changed in the past, but everything can be redeemed in the present. Guilt operates in the same way, but in the opposite direction. Resentment condemns the other. Guilt condemns the self. Both deny the eternal truth of the hour. A man confessed to me, "Doctor, I cannot forgive myself for ruining my marriage. My wife offered to return, but I felt unworthy." I replied, "You cannot reconstruct yesterday, but you can redeem it now. The mistake is gone. What remains alive is the idea you hold of yourself. Change that idea and your entire universe will change." I asked him to repeat each day before a mirror, "I forgive myself and bless myself. I learn from the past, but I do not identify with it. I am a child of God, free now." At first his voice cracked. Then he began to feel a profound relief. A month later he returned with a new smile. He said, "For the first time in years I can look at myself without contempt." This is scientific forgiveness, cleansing the mind of the poison accumulated by judgment and guilt. It is a form of spiritual hygiene. Just as you bathe to remove dirt from your body, you must cleanse your mind of the impurities of the past. Jesus taught this truth in the parable of the prodigal son. The son who strays symbolizes the human mind lost in guilt and error. When he decides to return, the Father, representing the divine being, does not reproach him. He embraces and celebrates him. The lesson is clear. The past does not matter when you return to the present. The divine presence knows no condemnation, only restoration. "This my son was dead and has come to life again," says the Gospel. Morally dead, spiritually asleep, the soul is reactivated when it recognizes its unity with God. Now every painful memory is a door that can open toward freedom if you look at it with the light of the present. Memory is not an enemy. It is a field where you can rewrite your story. If recalling an event brings pain, do not try to repress it. Bring it to the now, observe it, bless it, and let it go. Practice the following exercise. Sit in silence. Breathe deeply and let images of the past that still hurt arise in your mind. Do not reject them. Observe them with tenderness and say inwardly, "I release this image completely. It has no power over me. I am free now." Visualize a golden light flowing from your heart, dissolving the scene until it becomes a point of radiance. Then imagine cutting the cords that tied you to that memory, as if they were wisps of smoke vanishing into the light. This mental act has a real effect. Each cord cut releases vital energy that was trapped in the past. That energy returns to you, transformed into vigor, clarity, and peace. I have seen people heal from chronic illnesses after practicing this exercise. A woman suffering from arthritis for 10 years realized her rigid body was the physical manifestation of a mind clinging to old resentments. She began practicing nightly forgiveness, visualizing her joints becoming flexible while saying, "I release all resentment. My thoughts flow freely, and so does my body." 3 months later, the pain had almost entirely disappeared. The doctor did not understand the cause, but she did. Her mind had let go, and her body followed. The past, seen through the eyes of the spirit, is not an enemy but a teacher. Every mistake was a lesson in disguise. Every wound, an opportunity to grow in understanding. But if you insist on reliving them with pain, you freeze and perpetuate them. There are no chains in the eternity of the present. You fabricate them only when you mentally replay the scenes of your misfortune. Your subconscious mind is a garden. If you keep showing it images of hatred or guilt, it will continue producing fruits of suffering. But if you plant thoughts of love and forgiveness, you will harvest well-being. Remember these words and make them yours. Nothing in the past has power over me. Every experience was a teacher. I release and bless. I live in the divine now. Forgiveness is the most powerful medicine because it heals on all levels, mental, emotional, and physical. When you forgive, you do not change the past, you change the vibration of your soul, and that new vibration changes your destiny. Do not ask whether the other deserves it. Ask whether you deserve peace. Forgiveness is not a favor. It is an act of spiritual intelligence. Make this practice a daily habit. Each night before sleeping, softly repeat, I release all resentment. I forgive myself for my mistakes and forgive all who I believed harmed me. I am free now, and I bless all in the light of divine love. Do this with faith, even if at first you feel nothing. The mind will obey the word and the feeling will follow. After a few days, you will notice your face lighting up, your sleep deepening, and life feeling lighter. The past stops haunting you when you look at it with love, and that love is not sentimentality. It is the recognition of the truth that only the present is real, and in this instant, renewal is possible. Remember always, resentment is a chain, guilt is another. Forgiveness is the key that opens them, and when you break them, all of life breathes with you and says, Welcome to the hour where all is renewed. Chapter 4. Breathing, the bridge between the conscious and subconscious. Your breath is the invisible cord that connects your mind to the infinite. With each inhalation, life enters you. With each exhalation, you release to the universe what you no longer need. It is that simple and that sacred. Among all the movements of the body, breathing is the only one that belongs to two worlds, the conscious and the subconscious. It beats on its own when you sleep, and you can direct it when awake. That is why it is the perfect bridge between the visible and the invisible, between what you think and what you are. The air you breathe is not merely oxygen, it is vital energy, the divine presence flowing through you. When you breathe without awareness, you let your mind scatter. When you breathe with attention, the mind returns to the center, to the present moment. In the East, it is called pranayama, the control of vital breath. In the West, it is called divine inspiration. Both expressions point to the same truth, that the breath is the channel of union with infinite intelligence. When you inhale consciously, you are telling your subconscious, order and peace govern my life. When you exhale consciously, you release all tension, all ideas foreign to harmony. Just as the sea breathes in its waves, your being breathes in its eternal rhythm. I have witnessed people transform completely simply by learning to breathe with attention. I recall a young engineer suffering from panic attacks. He had tried medications and therapies without success. He said, I feel like I can't breathe. When fear comes, I think I'm going to die. I replied, it is not the lack of air that suffocates you, but the lack of awareness. You have allowed your breath to follow the rhythm of fear. Learn to make fear follow the rhythm of your breath. I taught him the 7-14-7 breathing technique. I asked him to inhale slowly, counting to 7, hold the breath for 14 counts, and exhale gently for 7 counts, repeating inwardly, now I am peace. The first days he struggled to maintain the rhythm. His mind was used to chasing fear, but he persevered. After a week, he noticed something extraordinary. The attacks lessened. His heart calmed, and he began to sleep without disturbances. After 3 weeks, he told me, Doctor, when I feel anxiety approaching, I close my eyes and breathe. In a few minutes, it disappears. It's as if an inner force wraps around me. I explained that this force was nothing other than his own subconscious, obeying a new command. Conscious breathing impresses the subconscious with rhythm, balance, and peace. And the subconscious, upon receiving this impression, adjusts all bodily processes, pulse, digestion, circulation. The result is a total sense of harmony. The conscious mind is like a captain who can steer the ship for a moment. The subconscious is the ocean that sustains the vessel. When the captain breathes calmly, the ocean mirrors that calm. But if the captain becomes agitated, the waters turn turbulent. The same occurs within you. Breathing is the helm that can calm the mental tide. Each breath can be a prayer. When you inhale, say mentally, God enters me as life and peace. When you exhale, say God expresses through me as serenity and love. Do it with conviction, and you will feel every cell responding. A doctor from California once wrote to me saying, "I have observed that 5 minutes of conscious breathing achieve more than many sedatives. The body obeys the rhythm of the mind, and the mind obeys the rhythm of the breath." The power of this practice lies in its simplicity. You need no temples or altars. Your temple is your chest rising and falling. Your altar is the moment you feel life entering your lungs. Practice the following each morning before getting out of bed. Remain for a few minutes with eyes closed. Bring your attention to your breathing without forcing it. Feel the fresh, pure air entering and the warm, soft air leaving. Then apply the 7-14-7 breathing 3 times in a row. Inhale slowly to 7 counts, hold for 14, exhale for 7, repeating inwardly, "Now I am peace." If practiced consistently, your entire day will be imbued with balance. No matter the challenges you face, your breath will be your refuge. Each time the mind wants to flee to the past or future, breathe consciously and return to the now. Breathing is the silent messenger between your reason and your soul. When you breathe in disorder, your subconscious receives the impression of chaos. When you breathe in serenity, it receives the impression of order. That is why sages of all ages have taught that he who masters his breath masters his mind. Ancient texts say, "Man's breath is the lamp of the Lord." Each inhalation is a spark of that divine lamp igniting within you. Your task is not to create the light, but to let it shine uninterrupted. I've also seen countless people overcome physical ailments that doctors attributed to stress by practicing this technique for just a few minutes a day. A middle-aged accountant suffered from arrhythmia and a constant sense of agitation. By teaching him to breathe rhythmically while affirming, "Now I am peace," he regained stability within weeks. His heart began to beat regularly. I told him, "Your heart has learned to follow the rhythm of your soul. The entire universe breathes with you. The tide of the sea rises and falls, day and night alternate. The seasons follow one another. Everything obeys the same principle of expansion and contraction, cosmic inhalation and exhalation." When your breathing harmonizes with this universal rhythm, you align with the law of life. Therefore, whenever you feel lost, confused, or afraid, do not rush to seek answers outside. Sit and breathe. In the silence of conscious breathing, inner wisdom reveals itself without words. It will tell you what to do, how, and when. Conscious breathing is a form of prayer without petition. It tells God, "I trust. I surrender. I am part of your eternal rhythm." And the subconscious, hearing this melody, organizes your entire existence in harmony with it. Remember, your life is measured by the number of conscious breaths, not by the number of days. Each conscious breath is an eternity lived in the now. Make your breathing a daily sacrament. As you inhale, receive life. As you exhale, release fear. Thus, each breath becomes a silent affirmation of your union with the Source. Repeat gently with each breath. I inhale divine light. I exhale all tension. I inhale peace. I exhale love. Now I am peace. Remain like this for a few moments. Feel that the air entering you is the same air that moves the stars. Feel your chest becoming a sanctuary where spirit breathes with you. And when you finish, open your eyes knowing that the divine presence dwells in your breath, your body, your mind, in this eternal instant we call now. Conscious breathing is living in communion with the infinite. Every breath reminds you that God is never far because he breathes with you. Chapter 5. Affirmative prayer in the present tense. Every prayer is a dialogue with your subconscious mind, and that dialogue can only understand one verb, the present. When you say, "I will be," you place your good outside your reach. But when you say, "I am," you bring it into your immediate experience. The mental law always operates in the now. It does not recognize tomorrow or some distant someday. Creative energy only responds to the image and feeling you hold in this moment. That is why every time you pray in the future tense, you postpone your good. You are telling your subconscious, "This is not real yet," and it obeys faithfully. But when you pray in the present, you proclaim that good is already here, and the law manifests it. The words "I am" are the most powerful in the universe. They are the divine name in action. When Moses asked God, "What is your name?" the answer was, "I am who I am." Exodus 3:14. In that phrase lies the secret of creation. Absolute being recognizes itself in the present tense. Every time you say "I am," you activate that same creative power because God does not act outside of you, but through you. Therefore do not say, I will be prosperous. Say, I am prosperous. Do not say, I will have health. Say, I am perfect health now. Do not say, I will find peace. Say, I am divine peace now. The verb to be in the future is a promise. In the present, it is a decree. And the difference between promising and decreeing is the distance between waiting and manifestation. Affirmative prayer is not a supplication. It is a declaration of truth. Supplication comes from a sense of lack. God, give me this that I do not have. Affirmation comes from a sense of possession. God, thank you, this is already mine. The subconscious responds only to the dominant emotion. If you pray from a sense of lack, it reproduces lack. But if you pray from a sense of fullness, it reproduces abundance. A woman attended my lectures in New York and shared her experience. She had been searching for a job for months, saying every day, God, please help me find work. Nothing happened. I asked her, do you believe God needs time to help you? No, she replied, but it seems he does not listen. I explained that it was not God who did not hear her, but her subconscious, which was obeying her words exactly. By saying, help me find, she affirmed that she had not found. Her prayer was a confession of lack. I asked her to change her mental language. For 3 nights before sleeping, she was to repeat, I am Yara, divinely guided. The perfect work for me is already prepared. I am peace and success now. 48 hours later, she wrote, Doctor, I received an unexpected call. They offered me a job I had not applied for, with a salary better than before. Nothing magical happened. Simply her mind changed frequency. By affirming I am, she connected with the current of present reality where her good already existed. The mental law is exact. What you affirm in the present with a feeling of truth is impressed on your subconscious as fact. That is why the ancient Psalms are written in the present tense. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. You do not say, he will be my shepherd, or I will lack nothing someday. You say, I lack nothing. Each verse is a present tense affirmation, a scientific formula that programs the subconscious with abundance, peace, and faith. When you repeat these words, you are not pleading to a distant God, but reminding your deep mind of the eternal reality of being. Therefore, affirmative prayer must be felt, not recited mechanically. If your lips say, I am peace, but your heart screams, I am at war, there will be no result. You must feel the peace as real now, even if your senses say otherwise. Faith does not wait to see in order to believe. It believes in order to see. Practice the following exercise for 7 days. Take a sheet of paper and write the prayers you usually use. Then rewrite them all in active present tense. For example, God will help me heal. I am perfect health now. I will have enough money. I am abundant provision now. Someday I will be happy. I am divine happiness now. Read these affirmations 3 times a day, upon waking, at noon, and before sleeping. As you pronounce them, breathe deeply and feel that each word is true. It is not necessary to force the feeling. Simply allow the idea to sink gently into the subconscious like a seed in the soil. Remember, the subconscious does not analyze, reason, or postpone. It accepts what you give it as real. If you say, I am strong, it begins to build strength in every cell. If you say, I am loved, it attracts people and circumstances that reflect that love. If you say, I am poor or I cannot, it obeys equally. The universe does not distinguish between a joke and a decree. Take every word as an order. I have seen instant healings produced by an affirmation spoken with conviction. An elderly woman with heart disease repeated weakly, Doctor, I have no strength. I am finished. I took her hand and said, never say that again. Say, I am the strength of God in action now. She obeyed. Repeating the phrase several times a day, within 2 weeks she was walking unaided. She looked at me and said, every time I said, I am, I felt an electric current flow through me. That current was life responding to the call of her own word. There is no distance between decree and fulfillment. Time only intervenes when doubt arises, but faith turns tomorrow into now. Even Jesus prayed in the present. When he multiplied the loaves, he did not say, Father, grant me the miracle. He said, Father, I give thanks because you have heard me. Anticipatory gratitude is the purest form of faith. He who gives thanks before seeing is declaring that the good is already done. Make your prayers decrees of truth, not supplications of fear. Whenever you find yourself asking in the future tense, correct immediately. Not I will be blessed. I am blessed now. Not I will succeed, I am success in action. Not God will heal me, God heals me now. This change of verb changes your destiny. Every word is a vibration, and the vibration of the now is the only one life recognizes. I invite you to practice the following ritual each morning. Sit in silence. Breathe 3 times deeply and say clearly, I am the power and presence of God in me. I am health, joy, abundance, and peace. All good belongs to me now. Speak not as a wish, but as a fact. Then during the day, when doubt or worry arises, simply repeat, I am. This brief affirmation returns you to the present and dissolves fear. Remember, the universe does not wait for your supplications. It responds to your consciousness. When you affirm with certainty, the subconscious acts without hesitation. Your word is law to your mind, and your mind is the workshop where God works. Make your words vehicles of the present. Let each prayer be a living affirmation of who you are in truth, an expression of the eternal I am. Say with me now, calmly and powerfully, I am perfect health now, I am abundant provision, I am love, joy, and wisdom now. Feel that the entire universe repeats with you because the I am in you and the I am in God are one. When you finish praying, remain silent for a few seconds. Listen within to that deep voice that says, it is done. Then you will know that affirmative prayer does not ask, it declares, it does not wait, it accomplishes, it does not promise, it fulfills. Because the power of God acts in only one time, the now. And when you pray in the present, you enter that same eternal power where all is already granted. I am is the master key of the universe. Speak it with love, feel it as truth, and you will see that every word spoken in the present becomes abundant life. Chapter 6, The Body Never Lies. Symptoms of disconnection. Your body is the faithful messenger of your mind. It never lies, never exaggerates, never invents. It only obeys. It is the visible mirror of your invisible thoughts, the instrument where your emotions, beliefs, and mental habits are recorded. The body lives exclusively in the present. It breathes, beats, digests, repairs, and renews its cells in the now. When your mind abandons that point of balance, wandering in the past or projecting anxiously into the future, the body is left without conscious direction, and the subconscious, in its infinite wisdom, sends signals in the form of symptoms. These symptoms are not punishments, they are messages. Pain, fatigue, tension, and illness are letters your subconscious writes to tell you. You have lost contact with the present. When the mind remains centered in harmony, the body flourishes like a well-tended garden. But when the mind disperses, the body reflects that disorder. Each cell is a worker obedient to the inner architect. If the architect, your mind, is filled with fear, resentment, or guilt, the workers do not know what to build. Then, the structure weakens. The great pioneer of mental healing and teacher of many in the New Thought movement said wisely, "Illness is only a mental opinion." And he was right. The body faithfully reproduces the opinion you hold about yourself. If you believe you are fragile, it weakens. If you believe you are old, it stiffens. If you believe you are at peace, it harmonizes. What you think about your body is the command it executes without hesitation. I have seen people who had been ill for years recover their health when they changed their mental opinion. It was not an external miracle. It was internal obedience. The body simply aligned with a new truth. Let me illustrate this with some examples confirmed time and again by experience. Ulcers often reflect concern for the future, a constant anxiety that erodes inner balance. The acid that corrodes the stomach is the physical manifestation of the thought, I cannot digest what is coming. When a person learns to trust, to rest in the security of the now, the body heals because it no longer needs to cry out. Arthritis expresses mental rigidity, accumulated resentments from the past. Joints harden in the same way the mind clings to old offenses. When a person learns to forgive, muscles loosen, hands open, and the body regains flexibility. Heart disorders often accompany the fear of not being loved or the guilt of not having loved enough. The heart, symbol of acceptance, literally reflects unexpressed emotions. When one reopens to love, not sentimentally but spiritually, the physical heart responds with renewed vitality. Migraines are the language of excessive control. A tense mind that wants to dominate everything produces pressure in the nerves, and the body responds with pain. By learning to trust divine wisdom, the body relaxes and the mind finds rest. None of this means you should neglect medical care. It means that alongside any physical treatment, there is a mental cause that can and should be corrected. The body is the board on which the mind writes, but the ink can be changed if the idea is changed. A man came to me with a diagnosis of chronic ulcer. He had tried every diet and medicine. He said sincerely, "I know my problem is nervous, but I cannot control it." I replied, "You do not need to control anything. You only need to return to the present. Your body is tired of living in the future." I taught him the practice of conscious body scanning. Each night before sleeping, he mentally scanned his body from head to toe, pausing in each area and affirming, "This part of my body is perfect now. The life of God flows freely here. I bless it, and it blesses me." He did it without haste, breathing serenely, feeling each word as a current of healing energy. Within a few days, he wrote, "Doctor, I sleep better. My stomach no longer burns like before." 3 weeks later, his physician confirmed remarkable improvement. Nothing mysterious had occurred. His mind had returned to govern his body with present-moment love. Conscious body scanning is a simple and powerful technique. Practice it every morning or night. Sit or lie comfortably, close your eyes, and bring your attention to the head. Feel the presence of life within you. Affirm, "My mind is at peace, my thoughts are clear, I am harmony." Then move your attention to the neck. "I release all burdens, life supports me now." Lower to the chest, and my heart beats with love. "I am divine peace." Continue through the shoulders, arms, abdomen, legs, and feet, always affirming present perfection. Within minutes, you will feel a current of calm flowing through your body. This calm is the response of the subconscious receiving the order of balance. With this practice, you remind your body that its center is the now. Your body does not know the clock. It only responds to the vibration your mind emits in each moment. That is why, if you repeat thoughts of anguish for hours, the body tenses. If you repeat thoughts of gratitude, the body expands. I have witnessed spontaneous remissions of disease when a person radically changes their mental focus. I remember a woman suffering severe arthritis, filled with resentment toward her ex-husband. I explained that her body was expressing what her mind refused to release. I asked her to practice scientific forgiveness. Visualize her ex-husband, bless him, and say, "I release you and I release myself. I am free now." She repeated this daily, while also performing the body scan, affirming, "My hands are free. My knees are flexible. My body flows with life." 3 months later, she walked without pain. It was not magic, it was alignment. The body obeyed the new mental law of forgiveness. Each cell is a spark of intelligence. Your organs are not mechanical parts. They are condensed thoughts. When you change your thinking, you change the chemistry of the body. Modern science confirms this with placebo effects and neuroplasticity. But the sages of spirit knew it centuries ago. The mind governs matter. Your body with its symptoms is not your enemy. It is your teacher. When something hurts, ask yourself, in what part of my mind have I lost harmony? The symptom shows where love, acceptance, or peace is lacking. Disease ceases to be a punishment and becomes a guide. Every discomfort is a call from the subconscious saying, return home to the now. Remember who you are. If you learn to listen, you will not need to suffer. Physical pain persists only while the mind ignores its message. But when you understand, the need for the symptom disappears. Within you exists an infinite intelligence that knows how to heal. That intelligence is active in you right now. You do not need to force it, only allow it to act. When your mind relaxes and trusts, the subconscious restores natural order. Repeat this affirmation each day, especially if your body faces a challenge. The life of God flows through me now. Every cell obeys the divine law of order and peace. My body is the temple of the perfect and healthy spirit. Now feel that life flowing like a river of light through your entire being. Do not focus on pain, but on the perfection that already exists behind it. Do not fight the symptom. Bless it for the message it brought and let it go. Remember, your body is not against you. It is always in your favor, showing you the way back to balance. It speaks in the language you can understand. Sensation. Listen with love, and it will respond with harmony. Your body does not lie, it only reflects the truth of the moment. When you return to the now, when you think in peace, when you feel gratitude, it restores itself as a perfectly tuned instrument. Make the now your medicine. Make breathing your prayer. Make present thought your balm. Then your entire being, mind, body, and spirit will sing in unison this eternal truth. I am perfect health now. My body is the expression of the divine mind, and in the consciousness of the present, all within me is renewed. Chapter 7. Work as active meditation. Work is not punishment or obligation. It is a form of prayer. It is the opportunity you have each day to express the creative power of God through your hands, your words, and your thoughts. When you work with love, your labor becomes an offering. When you work with fatigue or boredom, it becomes a burden. The true secret is not in what you do, but in how you do it. The presence with which you perform an action determines its spiritual value. You can be sweeping a floor or managing a company. If you do it with full attention, you are serving life. If you do it with haste or resentment, you are serving the ego. Conscious work is meditation in motion. Every task can be an altar if your mind remains in the present. Just as a mystic sits in silence to contemplate divinity, you can contemplate it in the very act of your work. Writing a letter, cooking, teaching, repairing a machine. The difference lies in your inner attitude. The sage Endu called this principle karma yoga, the path of action without attachment to the fruits. It means acting from awareness of the present moment without anxiety about the outcome. One does not act merely to gain, one acts because expressing the good is your nature. And by doing so without tension, results come effortlessly because energy flows unobstructed. Anxiety, on the other hand, interrupts the flow. The worker who worries about the harvest before finishing the work disperses his power. The one who works from faith keeps his mind unified, and the universe responds with abundance. The person who sows does not doubt the crop. He simply sows. I once heard the story of an elderly monk who spent his days sweeping the temple. A young man asked him, "Why do you do it with such devotion if it is only cleaning the floor?" The monk smiled and said, "Because I do not sweep the dust off the floor. I sweep the dust from my mind. Every movement of the broom reminds me to remain present." That is the right attitude, turning the ordinary into a sacred act. You do not need to change your job to find meaning. You need to change your consciousness. The problem is not the task, but the mind performing it without love. I recall a man who came to me complaining, "I hate my job. Every day I feel more exhausted." I asked him, "Have you tried doing it with full attention?" "How?" he replied. "As if each action you perform is the only one in the universe. Put your soul into every movement. Do not think about the schedule or the reward. Do it for the love of the act itself." I called this practice the single-point technique. It consists of directing all your attention to one task, no matter how simple, and performing it as if the balance of the cosmos depended on it. When you write, write only. When you speak, speak only. When you eat, eat only. When you listen, listen without thinking about your reply. The secret is to put your entire being into what you do now. Let your mind not wander to what you did yesterday, or what you will do tomorrow. This concentration transforms any occupation into meditation. The same principle applies to household tasks. I suggested a simple exercise to a woman who felt useless and unmotivated. For 21 days, she had to wash the dishes consciously, as if each plate were a sacred object. While doing so, she mentally repeated, "This moment is my masterpiece." Within a week, her tone changed. She said, "I don't know why, but while washing dishes, I feel a deep calm. Work no longer bothers me. It even inspires me." I told her, "Because you are practicing presence. You have stopped struggling with the moment and begun to live it." The same exercise can be applied to any task. The shopkeeper who serves customers with full attention is serving God. The teacher who teaches with love illuminates minds and souls. The worker who labors with dedication transforms his workshop into a temple. No matter what you do, if you do it consciously, you turn it into prayer. Every movement of your hands can be a silent prayer if done with an awakened heart. Your work, however simple, is the channel through which life expresses itself. The common person separates work from spirituality. He says, "I meditate when I pray, but when I work, I only work." The wise respond, "I work when I pray, and I pray when I work." There is no separation, for the spirit manifests in every conscious action. Mental distraction is the main cause of fatigue. It is not the quantity of tasks that tires the human being, but performing them with an absent mind. When your attention is divided, Your energy is too. But when you focus all your power on a single action, energy flows without resistance and work becomes light. Try this experiment for a week. Choose a daily task, cooking, writing, cleaning, driving, and commit to doing it with full attention. While performing it, mentally repeat, "This moment is my masterpiece." If your mind wanders, smile and return to the present. Do not scold yourself. Simply return again and again to the now. In a few days, you will notice something changing within you. Anxiety decreases, efficiency increases, and a deep sense of serenity accompanies you even amid activity. Conscious work does not exhaust. It renews because you are not working with your limited strength, but with the inexhaustible energy of the Spirit acting through you. Jesus said, "My Father works until now, and I work." This means that divine energy is eternally active in all forms of life. Your duty is not to compete with that energy, but to cooperate with it. When you align with its rhythm, all effort becomes joy. Do not seek only a salary in work. Seek an opportunity to serve, to grow, to express the good. The salary is the consequence. Inner satisfaction is the cause. When you work with love, abundance multiplies by natural law. Always remember, the work you do is a way to shape your mind. Karma Yoga offers the possibility to train attention, to live the moment, to merge with presence. And each time you do it, even for a moment, you experience peace that nothing and no one can take away. Make your work a spiritual practice. Let your hands be instruments of divine love and your thoughts channels of blessing. This way, you turn your workday into active meditation, and every action becomes luminous. Before starting your daily work, repeat this affirmation. The power of God works in me and through me. Everything I do with love and attention. This moment is my masterpiece. Do it with conviction. Allow these words to penetrate your subconscious. You will discover that fatigue dissolves, tasks simplify, and inspiration arises at every step. Work performed with presence is not effort, it is expression. It is not obligation, it is celebration. And when your day ends, you can look back and say, "I have lived this day fully. Every action was prayer, every thought was service, every moment was my masterpiece." For the person who works consciously, heaven is not something to be sought after death. It is lived now in the fullness of every present act. Work done with love is meditation in action, and the present lived well is the soul's greatest reward. Chapter 8. Conscious Relationships Loving in the Now. To love truly is to live awake. Love is not stored in memory nor anticipated in imagination. It is experienced here and now, in this eternal instant where soul recognizes soul. Most human conflicts arise because people do not relate to each other. They relate to their memories or their expectations. They do not see the being in front of them, but the reflection of the past or the ghost of the future. And so instead of meeting, they cross paths. Love can only exist in the present. The past brings resentment, the future, fear. The past says, "You hurt me." The future says, "What if you hurt me again?" But the present says, "I see you as you are now." Only in this immediate recognition does true communion flourish. I have seen marriages deteriorate, not for lack of love, but for an excess of history. Reproaches, offenses, and broken promises accumulate until memory becomes a wall. Then, the couple stops looking at each other with the eyes of the soul and begins to see each other through the eyes of habit. One no longer sees the other, only the mental file of grievances. A man once came to ask for my help. He said, "Doctor, my wife and I argue about everything. I feel like I don't know her anymore." I replied, "It's not that you don't know her, it's that you no longer see her." "How do you mean, not see her?" he asked. "You see the image your mind has created of her, not the person in front of you." I suggested practicing what I call the renewed vision technique. Each morning, when looking at his wife, he would say silently, "I see you for the first time. I see you perfect now, in the mind of God." He was to observe her face, her gestures, her voice as if she were a completely new being, no memories, no judgments, just presence. After a week, his tone changed. "Doctor, I feel like I'm rediscovering the woman I married. It wasn't routine that changed her. It was the lack of presence. When the mind stops replaying old scenes, the heart returns to see." The Apostle Paul expressed this timeless truth in his first letter to the Corinthians. "Love is patient, love is kind. It keeps no record of wrongs." What does keeps no record of wrongs mean? It means love does not tally the past. Love lives in the now, free from history. Every time you recall an offense, you rewrite the wound. Every time you forgive and return to the present, you allow life to renew itself. Loving in the now is seeing beyond the error and recognizing the divine essence in the other. It is acknowledging that behind every gesture, however clumsy, there is a soul seeking the same as you. Understanding and peace, and that understanding cannot arise in the mind, only in present moment awareness. Practice conscious listening. When someone speaks to you, listen without planning your response. Do not interrupt or think about what you will say next. Simply listen. Feel the words as waves arriving to you without judging them as good or bad. Just receive. In this act of total attention, love manifests, because love witnesses presence, not opinions or advice. I have seen couples reconcile after years of emotional distance simply through this practice. When both decided to listen without the past, they discovered that the conflict was not between them, but between their memories. I remember a woman who said to me, "I feel like I don't love my husband anymore." I asked, "Who do you not love? The man who lives with you, or the image you hold of him?" She paused and then said, "I think I've been fighting my own memory. Memory is useful for learning, but fatal for love." True love does not need files. Every instant offers a chance to see again, feel again, start anew. Love that lives in the now does not demand. It offers. It does not wait. It recognizes. It does not say, "When you change, I will love you." It says, "I love you now," because love waits for nothing. Look at the people around you with fresh eyes. If you see in them the same spirit that resides in you, your heart cannot judge. A judging mind is in time. A loving mind is in eternity. Try this today. When you look at your child, your partner, a friend, or even a stranger, silently say, "I see you perfect now in the mind of God." It does not matter if they are angry, sad, or indifferent. Your affirmation does not change them, it changes you. And when you change, the entire relationship transforms. Once a man came to thank me. He said, "My wife and I were going to separate. I practiced your technique of seeing the divine in her. I didn't tell her about it. I just did it silently. 2 weeks later, she began to look at me differently, and last night she told me, 'I don't know what you did, but I feel I love you again.'" It was not hypnosis or manipulation. It was presence. When a mind returns to the now, it radiates an energy that harmonizes everything. Remember, love is not built in time, it is built in attention. Love does not require effort, it requires presence. Where there is awareness, love flows naturally. Where there is distraction, love withers. Every relationship, whether with a partner, family member, or colleague, is an opportunity to practice divine presence. When someone irritates you, do not react from the past. Respond from the serenity of the now. Breathe, feel your body, and affirm silently, "Only this moment exists. I choose to love now." That second of awareness is enough to break the cycle of resentment. The subconscious learns quickly. If every time conflict arises you choose peace, soon peace becomes your automatic reflection. Do not worry about maintaining a relationship. Focus on keeping your consciousness awake. True love does not need to be sustained. It renews with every moment of presence. Jesus said, "Love your neighbor as yourself." This phrase does not speak of two loves, but one. You can only love another when you are conscious of your own being, when you are present in yourself. And by being present in yourself, you are inevitably present in the other because both share the same life. If you wish to heal a relationship, begin with yourself. Free yourself from the past, stop imagining the future, and live the moment in which love expresses itself. Every word you speak, speak with attention. Every gesture, perform with tenderness. And when you do not know what to say, remain silent, for silence also loves. Before sleeping, repeat this affirmation while visualizing the people closest to you. I see them perfect now in the mind of God. I forgive all past memories. I love in this eternal instant where only good exists. Do this every night for 21 days. You will notice tensions disappear, arguments dissolve, and new harmony begins to manifest. Conscious love does not depend on the other. It does not require reciprocity to exist because it does not come from personality, but from spirit. When you love from the now, you are already complete, and that fullness attracts those who vibrate at the same frequency. Relationships then cease to be a battlefield and become a field of expansion. You no longer seek the other to complete you. You unite to share the fullness you already are. Love of the past is memory. Love of the future is expectation. True love is this instant in which you recognize divinity in the other and in yourself. Repeat with serenity and power, I see you perfect now in the mind of God. Nothing from the past can darken this instant. Love lives in me, and I share it now. Make this affirmation your daily prayer, your way of seeing the world. When your heart fully opens to the present, you will understand this eternal truth. Love holds no grudges because it lives in the now. And in the now there is only forgiveness, understanding, and peace. Chapter 9. The prosperity of the present moment. True wealth is not measured by what you possess, but by the awareness with which you live this instant. If in this moment you can breathe, see the light, feel the air, think, love, and give thanks, you are already immensely rich. The poor man is not the one who lacks money, but the one who lacks vision. Poverty is not in the bank account, but in the mind that fears, that compares, that worries about an imaginary future. Your provision is not in tomorrow. God does not promise future abundance, He grants it now, to the extent that you recognize it. Financial anxiety is a form of idolatry because it places faith in money, the effect, instead of in the cause, which is infinite intelligence. When you worship money as a source of security, you separate yourself from the true source. But when you see money as a channel through which divine energy flows, the flow continues. Jesus said, "Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." That kingdom is not in some promised future. It is within you now. The righteousness He speaks of is not moral judgment, but the balance of a mind that trusts in the law of good. When your mind aligns with this righteousness, the awareness of divine order present, prosperity flows effortlessly. I have known many people weighed down by constant financial fear. A woman once told me despairingly, "Doctor, I don't know how I will pay my bills. Everything rises and my salary is not enough." I replied, "The problem is not the bills, but the idea you hold of scarcity. You are praying to the wrong God." "How so, praying?" she asked, surprised. "Yes, every thought of fear is a negative prayer. Every time you say it's not enough, you are decreeing poverty." I asked her to change her prayer. For 7 days, each morning she would repeat, "The infinite provision of God manifests now. I have everything I need and more." She also practiced the abundance inventory technique. Each night she wrote a list of 50 things she already possessed, from the greatest to the simplest: her home, her body, her hands, the air, the water, friends, books, the sun, rest. I explained, present gratitude magnetizes more good. As she gave thanks for what she had, her subconscious received the command to produce more. "What if I don't reach 50? She asked. "Then repeat some items until you feel it," I said. "The number is not important. The state of recognition is." A week later, she returned smiling. "Doctor, I received a delayed payment I thought I had lost, and my boss even mentioned a promotion." It was not coincidence. It was correspondence. The universe responded to the new frequency of her mind. When you worry about money, you close the circuit of supply. Fear contracts, gratitude expands. Fear says, "I don't have enough." Gratitude says, "I have all I need now." And the universal law always multiplies the dominant idea. Abundance does not depend on how much you earn, but on how much trust you have in the source. The person who trusts God as their provider does not fear economic cycles. They know opportunities are infinite because the creative mind is infinite. If you ever feel scarce, look around. Look at the sky. Take a moment to breathe. Do trees charge for producing oxygen? Does the earth invoice for every flower that blooms? The entire universe is designed to give without measure, and you, as part of the universe, share that nature. When you connect with this current of giving and receiving, life supports you effortlessly. Always remember, money is not the source, it is the channel. When you bless the channel, it multiplies. When you curse it, it blocks. Never speak ill of money or of those who possess it. Do not say, "Money corrupts and the rich are selfish." Such phrases are seeds of poverty that plant scarcity in your subconscious. Instead say, "Money is a divine idea in circulation. I bless its presence and its correct use in my life." I know a man who used to repeat, "Money slips through my hands." And it did. No matter how much he worked, everything went to unexpected expenses. I asked him to replace this affirmation with, "Money flows constantly and always returns to me multiplied." He began saying it every time he made a payment. He also blessed each transaction as an expression of divine circulation. Instead of thinking, "This costs too much," he said, "Thank you, God, for the abundance that allows me to give this." Within a few months, his situation changed. His income increased, but most importantly, his fear disappeared. The flow of money stabilized because his mind stopped condemning it. Money, like blood in the body, must circulate. Hoarding it with fear stops the current. Using it with gratitude amplifies it. Every blessed expense is a seed that returns multiplied. Therefore, when you pay your bills, do it with an inner smile and say, "Thank you, God, because this money returns to me in the form of new opportunities." Prosperity does not come to those who chase it. It comes to those who recognize that they are already part of it. Fear of future finances is faith in scarcity, while gratitude for present good is faith in abundance. Both are prayers. One closes doors, the other opens them. Today, make your abundance inventory. Take a notebook and list everything you possess now. Begin with the basics. I breathe, I see, I hear, I walk, I have a mind that thinks, I have friends, I have life. As you write, you will notice something changing within you. Anxiety subsides, the heart expands, and a sense of sufficiency fills you. This is true prosperity, the inner certainty that nothing is lacking. After writing your list, place your hand on your heart and say, "The infinite provision of God manifests now. I give thanks for the visible and invisible good. Everything I need arrives at the right time and in perfect form." If you practice this affirmation daily, your subconscious will begin to bring circumstances that reflect that conviction. Opportunities, ideas, and resources will appear where previously you only saw obstacles. Life was never denying you anything. It was only waiting for you to recognize your divine inheritance. I have observed that when a person worries about money, their body tightens and their mind clouds. But when they surrender in trust, inspiration arises to resolve the problem. Money was never the issue, consciousness was. Financial lack is not a lack of means, but a lack of vision. When you say, "I can't afford it," you are closing the door of the subconscious. Change that phrase to, "I choose not to spend on this now, but I can if I wish." This simple correction maintains the sense of power and freedom. Remember, words are creative, and every word about your finances is a seed that will germinate. God does not want you limited. Life does not create scarcity. Abundance is the very nature of the universe. Look around. The sky has no edges, the sea knows no measure, the stars cannot be counted. Likewise, so is your mind, when you recognize its divine origin. Practice this affirmation every morning for 21 days. The infinite provision of God manifests now. Everything I need is given to me at the exact moment and in perfect form. I live in the abundance of the present and give thanks for it. Do not repeat it as a formula, but as a declaration of faith. As you speak it, feel the certainty that it is already so. Your emotion is the electric current that activates the law. And when it comes time to spend, bless the act. This money is not lost, it fulfills its purpose and returns multiplied. Do this even with taxes, bills, and every transaction. This way, you transform every act of circulation, and financial energy will flow continuously toward you. The secret of prosperity is not in what you do, but in what you believe. Do not seek abundance in the future. Recognize it now. Do not beg for it. Give thanks for it. Present gratitude is the magnet of good. Make every breath a reminder of the wealth you already possess. Make every daily act an expression of abundance. The universe does not respond to your future desires, but to your present consciousness. Repeat with deep conviction, "The infinite provision of God manifests now. I live in the divine abundance of the present. I bless every coin, every payment, and every income. I am an open channel for universal wealth." Feel that these words are not a promise, they are reality. Abundance will not come. It is here. And when your mind opens to this truth, the external world aligns with it. Prosperity is not something you wait for, it is something you recognize. And by recognizing it in this instant, the entire universe conspires to multiply it. Chapter 10. Sleep as a gateway to the present subconscious. Your sleep is not a loss of consciousness, but an open door to the infinite power that dwells within you. While your body rests, your deep mind, the subconscious, continues working tirelessly, shaping the invisible substance of your thoughts into tangible experiences. This is why the last thoughts before sleep are the most important of the day. They are the commands your subconscious will execute during the hours of rest. Sleeping with worry is surrendering your mind to chaos. Sleeping in faith is sowing the night with stars of harmony. When you go to bed fearing tomorrow, your subconscious spends 8 hours creating scenarios of fear. But when you go to sleep affirming good, it spends 8 hours constructing blessings. Sleep is the silent factory where the soul's decrees are printed. Every night you have the opportunity to choose what to sow. Your subconscious does not rest, question, or analyze. It accepts without discussion the last idea it receives and reproduces it as law. This is why you can wake up anxious or inspired, depending on the mental seed you planted before closing your eyes. The ancient sages knew this power and used it with precision. Jesus said, "When you pray, believe that you have already received." Sleep is precisely that state of perfect faith, where the conscious mind withdraws and the subconscious acts. Therefore, the moment of going to bed is the most sacred of the day. Avoid filling your mind with negative images before sleep. Violent news, arguments, and thoughts of fear or guilt are poison to the night's soul. If you sleep with them, they will become architects of your morning. Your obedient subconscious will construct realities according to these images. Make your rest a spiritual practice. Create a nightly protocol that separates your consciousness from the day's noise and guides you gently to divine peace. Begin with a review of the day, but without judgment. Do not blame yourself for what you did, nor glorify yourself for what you achieved. Observe the facts as an impartial witness, like watching a finished movie. Internally say, "All is well, I learn and release, I surrender to the peace of the present." Next, focus your attention on what you wish the subconscious to work on during the night. If you seek health, repeat, "The life of God restores me now." If you need peace, affirm, "I sleep in divine peace, I awaken renewed." If you wish to resolve a problem, surrender it to inner intelligence, saying, "Spirit of wisdom, show me the perfect solution while I sleep." Do not try to force the image or emotion. Simply relax, breathe slowly, and let the phrase repeat in your mind until sleep envelops you. The exact moment you cross the threshold into sleep, the state modern science calls REM, is the frontier where ideas are imprinted most deeply. There, the conscious mind shuts down, and the subconscious opens its doors. What you deposit in that instant will become reality if accompanied by faith and serenity. Remember, sleep is not inactivity, it is silent creation. During these hours, the subconscious organizes thoughts, repairs the body, processes emotions, and, if you ask, solves dilemmas the intellect could not resolve. I've seen many people receive in dreams answers they had sought for years. A businessman once told me that every night before sleeping, he focused on a specific problem and said, "Subconscious, show me the perfect solution." One morning he woke with an idea so clear that he wrote a complete plan that later transformed his company. He said, "It was as if someone had dictated the project while I slept. It was not someone else. It was my own deep mind obeying the instruction." Another woman, sick and discouraged, confessed she went to sleep repeating, "I am exhausted, there is no remedy." Each morning she awoke even more unwell. I taught her to replace this phrase with, "The life of God renews every cell of my body while I sleep." Within a week she began to notice changes. She slept better, dreamt of light and flowers, and upon waking felt a peace she had never experienced. The new word had changed her night, and the new night had changed her body. Before sleeping, ensure your environment is harmonious. Turn off noise, dim the lights, and let the last sound you hear be a word of love or gratitude. The subconscious records not only your thoughts, but also the emotional tone of your surroundings. Choose calm for your last minutes. You may accompany this moment with a visualization of divine presence. Imagine lying in the arms of a golden light that envelops you lovingly. This light is life itself, the power that created you. Feel that presence supporting, protecting, and renewing you. You are not alone. The entire universe watches over your sleep. If you wake during the night feeling restless, do not be alarmed. Close your eyes and repeat softly, "I sleep in divine peace, I awaken renewed." Do this as if cradling your own mind. The subconscious calms and returns to order. Modern science has observed that during deep REM sleep, the brain repeats recent experiences and reorganizes them. This confirms what the mental laws teach. The mind continues working, selecting and reinforcing the most vivid impressions. Your last image before sleep becomes the most fertile seed. Make it a seed of good. Do not go to sleep with the bank account on your mind, or with anger from the day, or the mistakes of others. Go to sleep with the vision of a harmonious life, gratitude for what you already have, and absolute trust in the power within you. Your rest then becomes a silent prayer. I have taught this conscious sleep practice to thousands of people with astonishing results. A student struggling to pass exams began each night repeating, "My mind remembers everything with perfect clarity. Divine wisdom guides my study." Within weeks, he improved remarkably. He said, "It's as if my mind organized itself while I slept." Indeed, the subconscious loves order, and when you request it with faith, it produces it. Make your nights a sowing and your mornings a harvest. As you close your eyes, plant peace. As you open them, reap strength. The law never fails. Practice this ritual every night for 21 days. Review without judgment. Recall the day's events and say, "All is well. I learn and release." Gratitude. Mentally note 3 things you are grateful for today. Final affirmation, repeat softly until sleep. I sleep in divine peace. I awaken renewed. Infinite wisdom works through me in dreams. Visualization. Imagine a golden light completely surrounding you. This light is your subconscious working for you. You will notice calmer awakenings, clearer solutions, and a more vital body. Never go to sleep with a heart full of complaints or fear. This is the fastest way to perpetuate problems. Instead, sleep with gratitude. The night will then be your ally, not your judge. Remember, the subconscious never sleeps. Feed it fear and it returns nightmares. Feed it faith and it returns miracles. Close this day with conviction. The peace of God fills my mind and body. I sleep in the arms of divine presence. Tomorrow I will awaken renewed, inspired, and in perfect harmony with the universe. And so it shall be, for your words, spoken with faith in the present moment, becomes the law your subconscious obeys throughout the night. Sleep is not merely rest, it is communion with the eternal. Sleep in divine peace tonight, and you will awaken in the miracle of the present moment. Chapter 11. Death and the Eternal Now. The fear of death has been the greatest deception of human thought. It has stolen from man his peace, his trust, and his joy because it has made him forget the essential. You are not the body that perishes, but the consciousness that observes. Death is not the end. It is the change of form of an energy that never ceases. Only matter dies, and matter is merely the temporary garment of the spirit. The I Am that dwells within you knows neither birth nor death. It is the eternal being that existed before your body was formed and will continue existing after the flesh returns to dust. When you say, "I am," you do not refer to your age, your name, or your story. You refer to that invisible presence that sees through your eyes, feels through your heart, and remains identical at every stage of life. That is your true identity, and that identity is immortal. Fear of death arises from confusing what passes with what remains. The body changes. Consciousness observes the change. The body sleeps. Consciousness dreams. The body dies. Consciousness awakens. Only when you forget who you are does death appear real. Psalm 23 holds a secret that few understand. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Notice that it does not say valley of death, but valley of the shadow of death. A shadow has no substance. It is merely an absence of light. Death, seen through spiritual eyes, is no more than the shadow projected by the ignorance of the ego. And the light that dispels that shadow is the recognition of the divine presence that never ceases. When you feel fear at the thought of dying, remember that what fears is not the soul, but the personality. The personality is a temporary construct, a role you play in this earthly scene. But you are not the actor. You are the consciousness performing infinite roles. When this performance ends, consciousness does not vanish. It simply changes scenery. I have spoken with people who have had near-death experiences. They all recount the same thing, an indescribable sense of peace, an expansion of consciousness, and the absolute certainty that time does not exist. They say, It was as if everything happened at once. This is the eternal now, the state in which consciousness recognizes itself free from the human clock. There is no beginning or end there, only pure presence. Death is not a future event to fear. It is a transition that occurs in every instant. Every second, cells, thoughts, beliefs, and emotions die within you. The entire universe dies and is reborn continuously. Death is, in reality, the rhythm of life. To reject it is to reject renewal. Learn to die each day to what you are no longer. Die to guilt, resentment, and old ideas. Every time you release a fear, a limiting belief, or a painful memory, you experience a small resurrection. Life imitates you, constantly inviting you to be reborn. But to be born, you must first die. I offer you a paradoxical and liberating exercise. Each morning, sit in silence, close your eyes, and say mentally, I am dying now to every false belief. I am dying to fear, to guilt, and to the past. I am being reborn now to the eternal truth of the being that I am. Feel how, with each breath, you release layers of illusion. You are not calling for physical death. You are affirming the death of error. Every limited thought you abandon makes space for the abundant life of the spirit. Modern science has demonstrated that energy is never destroyed, only transformed. Physics confirms what spiritual wisdom has proclaimed for centuries. Life is indestructible. The body is a form of energy. When it ceases to function, that energy returns to the infinite ocean of spirit, from which it was never separate. Do not fear death, for you cannot lose what you truly are. When the body stops, you continue, just as sunlight continues when a cloud passes. The error of man is believing he possesses life, when in reality, life itself is expressing through him, and life cannot die. An elderly man who had lost his wife came seeking comfort. Through tears, he said, I cannot bear her absence. I gently replied, she has not gone. She has only changed rooms. The love you shared cannot die, for love belongs to the soul, not the body. When you think of her, speak to her from the silence, not from distance, but from the present. Say, I am one with eternal life. I feel you now in God. That connection is never broken. The soul does not know separation, only the human mind imagines it. To fear future death is to waste the only moment in which you truly live, the now. No one dies in tomorrow or yesterday. If death exists, it can only occur in the present instant. And if, in this moment, you are breathing, thinking, loving, it is proof enough that life has not abandoned you. Jesus did not speak of death as an end, but as a passage. He said, whoever believes in me, though they die, will live. He did not refer to a person, but to the principle of I am, the divine consciousness in all. Whoever identifies with this eternal I lives forever. Practice the technique of disidentification. Each time you think, I am going to die, correct the thought and say, I am not my body. I am the consciousness that observes the body. I am eternal life expressing today. Feel these words not as comfort, but as scientific and spiritual truth. Consciousness cannot observe its own disappearance, therefore it cannot die. From the perspective of consciousness, death does not exist. I have seen people who lost their fear of death and, paradoxically, began to live for the first time. Understanding that time does not limit them, they stopped postponing happiness. They realized that each moment is an eternity in miniature, and that living it fully is to transcend death. The ego fears death because it believes itself to be a separate someone, but you are not a part. You are the whole expressing itself individually. How could the whole die? Only form disappears, not essence, and the essence is you. Meditate daily on this affirmation. I am eternal life expressing today. My body is a temporary instrument of the spirit, but my being is infinite, immortal, and present. Do it without fear. Feel the immensity of your own being extending beyond the body, beyond the name, beyond time. You will discover a peace so profound that the very idea of death dissolves like a forgotten dream. Do not fear the passage of time. Each year, each wrinkle, each cycle is an invitation to recognize that the form changes, but the essence remains. The seed dies to bear fruit. The flower fades to leave the seed. So too, in each transformation you continue. When the moment of departure comes, which it does for all, It will not be an end, but an awakening. You will see that life continues, that consciousness continues observing, that love continues vibrating. And then you will understand what the soul has always known. Death does not exist. Only life exists in new levels of expression. Live in such a way that you do not fear death, for whoever lives fully in each moment has already transcended it. The soul that inhabits the now does not die, it expands. Repeat softly with absolute faith. I am eternal life expressing today. I fear no shadow, for the light of God is with me. I am dying now to illusion and being reborn to truth. Life is eternal, and I am that life in action. Feel that each word is a key that opens your mind to the consciousness of the immortal being. In this understanding, fear vanishes, time dissolves, and the soul rests in the eternity of the present moment. Death is not the end. It is awakening to what you have always been. Living in the present is to overcome it before reaching it. For the eternal now is the heaven where nothing dies, and where your true self lives forever in the light of God. Chapter 12. Living from Consciousness, I Am. We have reached the culmination of the previous journey, the recognition of who you truly are. Not the character you play, not the story you tell, not the circumstances you face, but the very presence that observes, breathes, thinks, and loves through you. That presence is the eternal I Am. Living from the awareness of this I Am is awakening from the dream of time. Throughout this book, you have learned to return to the present, to release the past, to stop fearing the future. But the final step is even deeper, understanding that you are the present itself. You are not someone living in the now, you are the now that lives. The consciousness of I Am is eternal life expressing itself, and that life beats here, in every breath, in every thought, in every atom of your being. I Am is the master key of the universe. With these two words, Moses unlocked the mystery of being when he heard the divine voice say, I am who I am. He did not say, I was, I will be, but I am, because being knows no other time than the present. God does not live in yesterday or tomorrow, but in this instant, where everything already exists in fullness. Living from the consciousness of I Am is recognizing that the same power that created the stars is operating in you now. Every time you say I am and feel its truth, you affirm your connection with that source. You need no intermediaries or complicated rituals, only inner silence and certainty. The human mind always seeks to reach something. Someday I will achieve enlightenment, when I have inner peace, when I gain prosperity. But divine consciousness does not seek. The mistake is postponing what you already are. Your fullness is not waiting to be attained. It is waiting to be recognized. This is the supreme secret of the mental law. What you recognize as true in your present consciousness manifests. You cannot receive what you do not accept now. The future is merely a projection of the unrecognized present. For this reason, I Am must not be accompanied by conditions. Do not say, I am happy when, or I am abundant if. Simply say, I am, and remain silent. In this simple affirmation, without additions, lies all power. When you remove qualifiers, you destroy limitations. In that conscious emptiness, the mind merges with the totality. Practice central meditation daily, preferably at sunrise or sunset. Sit in silence with your back straight and your breath calm. Close your eyes and focus your attention on the heart. Inhale slowly. As you exhale, repeat mentally, I am, I am. Do not think about meanings. Feel the being vibrating behind the words. Remain this way for 10 minutes, allowing the mind to dissolve into the I. If thoughts arise, observe them without judgment. Return to I am like a wanderer returning to a lighthouse. Do this every day, and in a few weeks you will begin to feel a profound peace, an unlimited expansion. I have witnessed extraordinary transformations in people who practice this simple meditation. A man tormented by anxiety said to me, Doctor, I felt my mind was a swarm of thoughts. I could not stop it. I asked him to sit each night for 10 minutes and repeat only, I am. At first he grew impatient. Then he began to feel something new. It's strange, he said, as if a presence were praying to me. It was not strange. He had come into contact with his own being, the presence he had been waiting for all his life. When you live from the consciousness of I am, fear disappears because fear belongs to time, and the I am dwells outside of time. You do not identify with change, but with the life that observes it. You are not the wave, you are the ocean. To firmly establish this consciousness, I propose a 30-day plan. It is not rigid discipline, but gentle training to accustom your mind to the truth of the present being. Days 1-7. Each morning upon waking, say clearly, I am the presence guiding my life. Today I live fully in the now. During the day, whenever a worry arises, repeat internally, I am. This brief affirmation will return you to the present. Days 8-14. Practice the I am meditation twice a day, morning and evening. Observe how inner silence deepens. Begin to feel that you do not act by effort, but that life flows through you. Days 15-21. Add this phrase to your affirmations. I am the infinite presence that provides, guides, and sustains. Perform all tasks, work, study, rest, from the awareness that it is not you acting, but divine intelligence operating through you. Days 22-30. Before sleeping, visualize yourself as a radiant channel of golden light. Feel this light flowing from the center of your heart, expanding to fill your room, your city, your planet. Say, I am the life that lives in all. I am the light that illuminates every mind. I am the eternal peace that sustains the universe. Follow this plan and observe how old habits of worry dissolve. The mind will stop seeking results and begin to trust the perfection of the present. I have received testimonies of people who, through this consciousness, healed illnesses, resolved conflicts, and transformed their environment. A woman, after years of economic instability, began each day affirming, I am divine abundance now. In less than a month, without seeking it, she was offered a job with double her previous salary. She understood it was not magic, but correspondence. The universe responded to her recognition of present good. Another man, consumed by sadness, practiced the I am meditation for weeks. He wrote to me, Doctor, I no longer seek happiness. I realize happiness is my natural state. I have stopped resisting life. This is the sign of one living from being. Resistance dissolves because there is nothing left to conquer. When you affirm I am, all the power of the universe supports you. In that instant, you are not asking, you are declaring, you are not pleading, you are remembering. The prayer of I am does not create something new. It reveals what has always been. Make your life a continuous affirmation of this truth. When you walk, feel, I am the life that moves. When you speak, think, I am the word expressing itself. When you love, silently say, I am the love that recognizes itself in another. Thus you will live in the paradise of the present, where lack and waiting do not exist. The ordinary mind divides time into past, present, and future. The consciousness of I am unifies them in a single point, the eternal now. Yesterday was thought. Tomorrow will be thought. But this instant is pure, vibrant, eternal reality. Close your eyes right now and whisper, now is my moment of power. Now I accept my good. In this eternal instant, I am complete. Feel how these words resonate in every cell. Nothing is missing, because in I am all is contained. There is no outside, no later, no other, only consciousness expanding without limits. Remember this truth always. The spiritual journey is not toward the future, it is towards the present. You are not ascending to God. You are awakening to the God who has always been within you. The seeker and the sought are one. When seeking ceases, realization begins. Living from the consciousness of I am is living in the certainty that good already is, that peace already is, that love already is. Nothing is missing, because nothing can be missing in being. And when you live this way, the external world aligns, reflecting your inner fullness. Make this affirmation your final decree, your seal of power, your constant prayer. Now is my moment of power, now I accept my good. In this eternal instant, I am complete. I am the living presence of God in action. Repeat it with faith each morning upon waking and each night before sleeping. Let it be your spiritual breath, your internal compass. For when you dwell in the I am, you dwell in the eternal now, and the eternal now is the kingdom of heaven within you. Remember, the spiritual journey is not toward the future. It is awakening to the present that has always been perfect. And in that awakening you discover the supreme truth. You were never a being seeking God.